Mbappe is a spoiled child. You know it. I know it. Everyone knows it. His egocentric behavior over the years has earned him many enemies, but even more so by these footballers. Here are 9 players who hate Kylian. And believe me, you don't want to miss number 10. It's obvious that this golden boy is a Ronaldo fan. Mbappe has obviously had his fair share of opposition players or teammates throughout his career. The first man on the list is someone you know very well, Neymar. Neymar's transfer to PSG dominated the media for weeks. Finally, the golden boy would step out of Messi's shadow and make a name for himself in Paris, paying a record-breaking transfer fee of over $200 million for the golden boy. In the beginning, Neymar and Mbappe got on really well, terrorizing defenders in the league and becoming the dynamic duo of French football. From the outside, everything looked good, but behind the scenes, something dark was brewing and was about to explode. But, as an old Chinese proverb says, 2 tigers cannot hide in the same mountain. Neymar's ego was as big as the Eiffel Tower. Kylian Mbappe, whom he was considered the golden boy, was at the peak of his career at the time, and he had as many fans as Neymar, even more than Neymar. Mbappe, who was at PSG, had an ego and did not want anyone to surpass him. Although they got on well in the beginning, the two would inevitably clash. When Mbappe started to push the boundaries of power at the club, the relationship turned into the opposite. Dark clouds were gathering behind the dynamic duo of French football, Mbappe and Neymar. Neymar started to get angry. Man, you don't want to see this guy angry. And problems arose. PSG won a penalty against Montpellier. Mbappe wanted to take the penalty, but Neymar argued with him because Mbappe had already missed a penalty during the match. Neymar didn't want it to happen again, and in the end, Neymar took the kick, but after the game, it was clear what the problem was between them. The two players were not getting along, and it was affecting the team. Mbappe even asked PSG to sell Neymar. I often see in the comments how disgusting you find this situation, and to be honest, I agree. Mbappe made it clear to the dressing room that he didn't like anyone overshadowing his power. Neymar scored the goal and the French team celebrated the goal. Mbappe was of course happy that his team was ahead, but he was angry with Neymar. From that moment on, the relationship between the two was never the same. Neymar wasn't the only famous footballer who couldn't get along with Mbappe. First Neymar, now Messi. Mbappe could feel his golden boy status slowly fading away. Messi is the one everyone recognizes. Even if you ask my grandmother, Messi, who transferred to PSG, clearly overtook Mbappe. He proved to be another star at PSG. In a PSG match, Messi met the ball on the right wing. Mbappe wanted the ball, but there were better options closer to Leo, so Mbappe didn't get it. Mbappe was furious and threw his hands in the air, but his next move shocked Messi. He approached Messi and disrespectfully bumped his shoulder. Messi's expression said it all. He was definitely not happy. PSG had 3 world-renowned players. Neymar, Messi, Mbappe should have been the deadliest front 3 in football history. But a lack of chemistry limited their potential, especially against stronger teams. The truth is that all 3 of these world legends didn't get along with each other. Mbappe didn't like sharing the limelight with Messi and Neymar and hated the duo because he wanted all eyes on him. Messi accused Mbappe of being lazy. Messi is clearly a real GOAT, and that bothers Mbappe a lot. Messi is now 37 years old, and he is not as durable as he used to be, and he has never broken his respect.
We not had a dinner together yet, but I hope in the future.
And I must make it clear that although my friend Mbappe has a great youth, he can't catch up with Messi. Messi was clearly better than Mbappe. Messi and Mbappe being in the same team also left Mbappe behind.
Kylian Mbappé, 200e but, doublé!
Wayne Rooney criticized Mbappe's disrespect for Messi, while the clash between Messi and Mbappe was happening and found Mbappe's ego too big. He officially stated that Messi was even better than Mbappe at that age. But the problems are just beginning. But Leo is not the only Argentine player who has problems with Mbappe. Martinez was cool-headed, but his rude celebrations were so misunderstood as to appear to be mocking the French team that he became public enemy #1 in France. All Martinez's saves in the game frustrated Mbappe for the second World Cup in a row. The hatred was mutual, and Martinez hated France, especially Mbappe. Argentina was celebrating their victory, and 1 minute, what was that? The French were furious when they realized Martinez was holding something strange in his hand. Mbappe must have cried that night in his multi-million-dollar mansion. After this incident, Martinez explained that the doll was thrown to him by a fan, but he had a little more fun than he should have. Mbappe said that one of the reasons he didn't punch Emiliano Martinez was because he spent all his energy pressing the like button on this video.
Avec Léo Messi et de la célébration des Argentins. Vous avez pu en parler un petit peu, notamment Martinez.
J'ai discuté avec lui après le match un tout petit peu, je l'ai félicité. Parce que voilà, c'était la quête d'une vie pour lui, pour moi aussi, mais moi j'ai échoué, donc il faut toujours rester bon joueur. Et les célébrations, c'est pas mon problème, je perds pas d'énergie dans des choses aussi futiles. Le plus important pour moi, c'est de donner le meilleur de moi-même.
Yes, he didn't say that. But please like the video. It helps me more than you think. Thank you, brother. Martinez was not the only one angry with Mbappe. Former Arsenal and Chelsea striker Giroud also expressed his disdain for Mbappe. At Euro 2020, Giroud complained about Mbappe's lack of passing and attacked Mbappe in a veiled way, which led to Mbappe's reaction. Giroud made a statement about Mbappe and said that he did not pass him. Maybe if he had passed him, it could have been a goal. Mbappe wanted to be the owner of the goal and shot instead of passing his teammate. And I would have thought the same thing. Sergio Ramos, who played in the important defense of Real Madrid, is a must on this list. Sergio Ramos is by far not the most popular name in football. He plays very aggressive and fouls his opponents many times. Yes, many people think that Ramos is a good defender. He is now a senior defender. You remember on our Fruit Football channel, Sergio Ramos was one of the main Messi haters. He threw a shoulder at Messi, and Ramos was angry about it. So a few days later in training, he gave Mbappe the same shoulder blow and indirectly criticized his move on Leo. This was not the first time Sergio Ramos corrected Mbappe. Ramos had to separate the two in the dressing room during Mbappe and Neymar's penalty argument. Ramos probably wanted Mbappe to put his ego aside and respect him. I hope Mbappe has learned that if there's one man you never argue with, it's Sergio Ramos. Let's look at another Manchester United player who hates Mbappe. Gerard Pique is very outspoken about his opponents, and this is the reason for the conflict between Ronaldo and Gerard. Of course, the same goes for Mbappe, who looks up to Ronaldo and loves him. Gerard, who said Ronaldo was a bubble and overrated, supported Messi and many times blamed Mbappe. Pique was furious when Mbappe destroyed the Barcelona defense and scored a hat-trick at the Camp Nou. Pique was sorry for the hat-trick, but what he said to his teammate Jordi Alba infuriated Gerard. It was really crazy and technically could have landed Mbappe in jail. I'll you in the street. What? That's not something you say to anyone. Pique quickly intervened and hit Mbappe back. Who are you going to kill? Let's be honest. If these two got into a fight, Mbappe would give up in a few minutes. Pique is much bigger and physically stronger than Kylian. That's why he doesn't like Mbappe, and he doesn't like Mbappe's selfish style of play. Benoit Asuekoto criticized players of African origin who play for European countries, especially Mbappe. He accused them of saying they loved Africa but playing for European national teams. However, according to another legendary player, Mbappe tried to manipulate the club to get more money from PSG. News that Mbappe would leave PSG in 2022 was everywhere. As the days passed, things became more and more complicated. Kylian Mbappe was ready to leave PSG and transfer to Real Madrid. However, former player Jerome Rothen observed the situation and criticized Mbappe's actions. Jerome Rothen accused Mbappe of pressuring PSG for a new contract, even with all the money and privileges he already had. Despite the millions they give, this discontent is real. There are many things he doesn't like at the club. He sees that this is not leading to a positive result, so he puts more pressure. He leaks things. Watch out. Looking at the contract PSG offered Mbappe, it is logical to say that Rothen is right. Mbappe's annoying ego has once again paid off. We've come to the bombshell and the finale of the list. Pogba is accused of being lazy in the team and not caring about his teammates. The problems between Mbappe and Pogba are quite bizarre. Pogba was a maniac. Pogba was so worried and jealous of Mbappe that he decided to do something out of this world to really destroy him. Pogba went to a sorcerer and asked him to cast a spell or voodoo curse on Mbappe. At Pogba's request, the sorcerer cast a spell that would neutralize Mbappe. It was a move against Mbappe's meteoric rise. And strangely, in that match, Mbappe was a shadow of himself against a reserve team. I've heard stories of black magic in football, but at this level, wow! Now let's step back for a minute, because this situation seems too bad to be true, especially when you consider the source of the news. It was Pogba's brother Matthias who publicized these news, and after closely examining the facts, there are some doubts. Firstly, Matthias was arrested for trying to steal around $11 million from his brother. How can we trust someone who tried to steal from his own brother? So yes, this blackmail incident casts a dark shadow over these black magic allegations, but listen, there's crazier stuff about Mbappe that you may have never heard of. Did you know that Mbappe can run faster than Usain Bolt? Yeah, I was shocked too. Hear the full story by clicking on the video on your screen, and don't forget to subscribe to the Fruit Football channel.